I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Lindsay, and this is What Makes You Fangirl, the podcast where we deep dive into all things One Direction and unpack the moments that turned us into lifelong fangirls.
Throughout the series, we're following One Direction from their X Factor beginnings to global superstardom, unpacking albums, inside jokes, and the chaos that made history, and a nostalgic rewind for anyone who's ever loved something a little too much.
Last time, we talked about the Take Me Home album, how it solidified One Direction as global superstars, delivered anthems, ballads, and cheeky pop perfection.
Today, we're diving into the chaos that came next, the Take Me Home world tour, celebrity relationships, feuds, and some of the internet rumors that honestly made zero sense.
Basically, everything that made being a Directioner in 2013 both magical and stressful.
For all that, let's kick things off with our favorite segment.
As always, this is What Makes You Fangirl This Week, which is where we fangirl about our current obsessions, small or big. Think of it as a little warm-up before we dive back into One Direction's history. So, Kelsey, what is making you a fangirl this week?
I'm glad you asked, because I have been so deeply obsessed with Heated Rivalry. It's an issue. I've watched it 6 times. And that's not an exaggeration. It did take me like the first 2 episodes to like get into it. I know you've watched the first 2 episodes. And you feel the same way, but the 3rd episode and on.
Okay.
Oh my God. And now I love the first 2 episodes because I've watched the whole thing. But
yeah.
Oh my God.
It's good to know because, like you said, I've only seen 1 and 2. I have not seen past those 2. So I need to like get into it. I know I'm going to finish it. I'm just slow, you guys. I'm sorry.
But I don't tend to cry at things. Like I hardly cry in general. That's on being a Zoloft girly. But
Hashtag ad. Hashtag not a medical professional.
Zoloft, please sponsor me. You're expensive. But I sobbed at this show. Well, like tears running down my face, sobbed. So that like is very strange for me. So I really have loved Heated Rivalry. I watched the show and then I started reading the books.
Yeah, that was my question. Have you read the books?
Yes, I read the first 2, which I don't want to say because they're 2 different couples, but it'll like be spoilers for you if I. But
is it the other like the older guy in the show? Is he in the books too?
Yes, that's who the first book is based off of. The first book's not even like Shane and Ilya.
Right. Okay.
So I read the first 2 books and it is very accurate. Like
really,
even dialogue. I was actually so surprised. I watched the show first.
Yeah.
I would say like 90% of the show and like dialogue is like accurate and true to the books, which is crazy. Usually they change dialogue, but it's like word for word dialogue from the book, which is like super cool in my opinion. Like the author is getting her recognition.
Yeah, true.
For her writing, but
very true.
Yeah, super good.
My question.
I hope you watch it. Yep, go ahead.
I will finish it. I will. It's on my to-do list, but it's just slow. I mean, I'm slow, and then you take into account, like, this is a PG podcast, so I'm not going to get into the details, but there are certain things about that show that isn't necessarily my cup of tea. Pop off for you if it is. I support it. I support everyone that loves that. I personally am, let's say, inexperienced and not into it. This is not a comment on the sexualities involved. I don't care if it's gay people, straight people, whatever it may be. I'm just not that interested in that particular content. However, I am intrigued by the storyline. I do like the thought of like 2 little gay hockey players finding the behind the scenes. Players. So that's cool. And I feel like it's getting women more interested in hockey, which I think is needed. Yeah. Because I love hockey. Hockey is a very white male dominated sport. And I think that having more diverse audiences will make it a more interesting game. Absolutely. Also, considering the NHL, not to call them out on here, are kind of historically homophobic.
That's a lot of the like because you haven't watched it, but that's like a lot of like the plot of the,
Yeah,
the
but
movies
like
or the shows and the books.
that's true in real life. Like they have issues with that, and so I think that having these pieces of media and like open dialogues about it allows for more diverse people in the space and more diverse people to enjoy the space. So I think it's cool, and I will finish it, and I'll let you know when I do. And also let me say that TikTok editors are really like popping off with that, because
I love them.
I feel like I wasn't that interested, and then I saw the TikTok edits, and I was like, wait, these are fire.
Also,
like the
like
edits.
the actors are
The actors are so
incredible.
good. So good. Also, the fact that
Incredible.
Connor Story is from
Is
like
not
Texas.
Russian?
His Russian accent
Insane.
is so good.
So I started it before like I even saw a ton of clips. So like my perspective was like, oh, this is a Russian man. And then I saw like clips of them doing interviews and I was like, oh my, that's not
No.
a Russian accent.
And I've seen like Russian people saying, not saying that they believe he's Russian, but believe he's like, they don't think he's or what's the phrasing I'm looking for? Russian people agree that it's a very good Russian accent, not so much so that he is literally from Russia, like grew up in Russia, but people were like, oh, I assumed he grew up in like a Russian household and like his parents speak Russian or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, he's from Texas. Like,
yeah, never spoke.
What?
He like started learning it like 2 weeks before.
Like when he got the role, basically.
And he said that while they were filming, he would only use that accent. And I believe this is what I saw. He would only use his accent. And so like at the end of filming, a lot of people didn't realize that like, well, that's not his.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak Russian normally.
Yeah,
and does
I
not have a
saw
Russian
the interview. I saw the interview where he was talking about when they filmed like in Russia with Russian like extras and stuff. And the Russian extras would speak to him in Russian and he had to be like, ooh,
I don't know what you're saying.
What you're saying.
Yeah. But
no,
props
so
to
good.
Connor Story. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Hudson,
come on the podcast.
Hudson, like part of the reason also why, like not just the TikTok edits, but seeing them as people, like their personalities are so cute and they're like so fun.
Literally love them.
That I'm like, wait, I have to watch them because they're adorable.
Yeah. Hudson, I love that he is like, I am media trained, but I don't listen very well. So
I love that they kind of seem, again, I haven't seen the whole show, but they kind of seem opposite of their characters. Like in the show, Lily is like the really intense, cocky one. And then Shane is kind of like baby girl. But then in real life, Hudson's kind of unhinged. And Connor's Story is baby girl.
Baby girl. Connor's Story is baby girl. That's it. That's the tweet.
So I like them. I'm excited. Do you have a favorite, like Ilya or Shane, or do you like both of them?
I think I like both of them, especially I think towards the beginning. I think I loved Shane a little bit more, but in the last 2 episodes, like Ilya, I love you.
When I was watching episode 2, episode 1, I don't remember which one it is. When they're like texting back and forth, and he sends Shane an eggplant, if you will. I was like, is this assault technically?
But I guess if they had like been provocatively texting previously, I guess that's fine. But unsolicited pictures, we don't love those.
We don't necessarily like those. Anyway, today in New York there was a heated rivalry lookalike contest. Just so you know. I think the winners got $50 each.
Oh. What a prize.
So slay.
But moving on from heated rivalry, I could talk about it forever. What is your What Makes You Fangirl this week?
What Makes You Fangirl this week? I think I'm going to talk about a movie that I saw recently, which stems from my love for a specific person. So I guess we're going to talk about him first in my What Makes You Fangirl. And that would be Mr. Dylan O'Brien. White boy of the century, obviously. He is an icon. He's so good. I love everything he's in. Obviously, my sort of origin of love for him came from Teen Wolf when he played Stiles Stilinski, aka the love of my life. Favorite show, favorite character of all time. I've met Dylan O'Brien, and I said that to him.
And he said, you did. You
and
told
I
him
quote, he said, Stiles means more to me than you'll ever know. So Dylan also loves Stiles. So everyone can enjoy that anecdote. But recently, he has been in a lot of new projects, but his movie that just came out is called Set and Help. It was directed by Sam Raimi. It also stars Rachel McAdams. So super exciting crossover of Regina George and Styles Stilinski on an island. It's rated R. It's a bit of a, I guess I should look up the genre. It's like kind of horror, thriller, suspense, but it's not, I'm not like a horror girl. I go see most movies, but I won't see horrors. But this one, it was giving more thriller, and also obviously Dylan O'Brien was in it, so I had to go. But like the plot, I won't spoil the full plot for you, everyone, but it's about their coworkers. He is her new boss, and he's kind of like young and annoying and cocky and all the terrible things you can think of a finance bro. Picture that. And she is like a hardworking employee who gets passed over for a promotion. And then they are going on a business trip, and their plane crashes, and everyone else dies. But they
Love.
both make it to like a deserted island, and it's kind of about them surviving there and the dynamic and what that can do to you psychologically and physically. And it's like, it's scary in the sense that like it's suspenseful if you're like trying to figure out what's going on.
Mhm.
They also have a weird relationship dynamic because obviously he was her boss before, but then now they're on this island. And also she has more, I guess you could call it, experience. She's really into the show Survivor. Like she knows, it's set in the
She
plot
could be
before that
on-
she knows how to like start a fire from like sticks and stuff like that. So she's definitely more prepared for this sort of endeavor than this like primpy white boy. So it's kind of like the dynamic between them, and it's very good. It's also a really cool film when you think of how it's literally just like two people. Like I feel like a lot of movies have, many
Multiple actors,
cast
yeah.
members, ensembles. There's lots of things going on, but this is just them two on an island, and like what happens when you're stranded with someone you hate from your work, basically.
Do
Nightmare.
you think that you could survive?
No.
I would give up. If I woke up in an instance where I had like been in a plane crash and nobody else was alive except for one other person, I'd just be like, why don't we just take yourself out? Like,
Yeah.
just lay down and accept defeat. I'm not, no.
Know myself well enough to know that I have grown up with a certain level of comfort, and I don't think I could be deserted on a desert island. I'm also
Yeah.
vegan, and this woman was killing pigs and slaughtering fish, and I'm sorry, that's not for me.
You would be picking berries. And they
I
could
would
be
pick some berries
poison.
and they'd be poisonous and I'd die, and maybe that's the way to go, probably.
Honestly.
The thing is, I don't think I'd like immediately want to like off myself, because
Yeah, you'd have that immediately.
not to give insights into my brain, but my biggest fear is dying. So I don't
Yeah.
think I would like want to like die immediately, but I also know I would not do well in that environment.
I would
So
not. Yeah, I would not survive. I mean, I've been camping before. My dad's always there, so
no, yeah, like,
I'm being kept alive by my father. By myself.
Yeah, couldn't be me by myself figuring that
Yeah.
out. But yeah, no, the movie, I don't think I gave it 5 stars. I think I gave it 4 because I wasn't like, mostly just because it wasn't like my typical type of movie that I'd give 5 stars. But it was definitely really good performances by both of them. At times it felt a little like the pacing was kind of slow, but then something would always happen to bring me back into it. And I guess that's almost maybe a commentary on, you're deserted on an island. Maybe you're like trying to make it feel like it's like a long experience. It was a little bit gory for my taste. I think that's just like the style of this movie. And I think this director is known for that a little bit too. So that wasn't my favorite part, but it wasn't excessive to a point where I was like, the only thing that really like I did not like, and this is a personal issue, is there was a throwing up scene where there was quite a lot of vomit. And
yeah, no, thank you.
I don't do well with that, so I did close my eyes for that. I will say one of my friends went and saw it in 4D, where they do the whole experience, and she said that they splashed water on your face when that happened.
I would crash out, actually.
I couldn't do it. I was like, no.
No, thank you.
That's gross, but especially, okay, because this isn't a spoiler, it's just like in that scene, she's throwing up on his face. So I didn't like that part, and I would not like being splashed while that was happening.
Yeah,
But overall, those scenes aside, I enjoyed it. And my spoiler-free review is I support women's rights, but more importantly, I support women's wrongs. And I will leave it at that.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get moving on into the core of the pod. Let's see. All right. Last time we discussed the release of One Direction's sophomore album, Take Me Home. Now let's talk about the tour that followed it. The second headlining tour by One Direction, running from February 23rd, 2013 in the UK, all the way to November 3rd, 2013 in Japan. It's quite a long
Quite a
stint
long
of touring.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the tour was originally billed as UK and Ireland arena tour, but due to insane global demand, obviously, it quickly expanded to include North America, Australia, New Zealand, and continental Europe, as well as also Asia. Basically global. They were everywhere.
Yeah, and when we say demand, I mean insane. In the UK and Ireland alone, 300,000 tickets sold within a single day. The O2 Arena in London had 6 sold-out shows. Dublin, Belfast all sold out within the hour, and in Australia and New Zealand, 190,000 tickets for 18 shows sold out, grossing to $15.7 million. It's a lot. The step up to arenas and stadiums from the more intimate venues from Up All Night shows their immense growth as performers in commercial staples in such a short amount of time.
By the end of the tour, it was grossing over $114 million from 123 shows. It even ranked number 10 on Polestar's year-end top 20 worldwide tours. Rolling Stone, though, famously said that the band was being, quote, worked like dogs, which we will talk about a lot more, but as we've alluded to and mentioned from time to time, they were definitely constantly working, and it led to burnout on their side, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the grind was real, but the payoff, fans got an arena-ready show packed with high energy, personal touches, and some seriously fun surprises. Opening acts including 5 Seconds of Summer, Slay, Cameron, and Ollie Murs, depending on the leg of the tour.
Mm-hmm. Which, Ollie Murs, throwback. What a king. I miss
love that
him.
man.
I wonder what he's up to.
I know he has
Anyway,
a kid, children, multiple. I don't know. But
good for
that's
him.
what he's doing.
Good for you, Ollie Murs. And obviously, 5 Sauce icons. So, but the set list, it was a perfect mix of hits from Up All Night and Take Me Home, fan favorites, and some covers. Their famous Teenage Dirtbag cover originated on this tour. On this tour, they also performed their charity single Live, which was a cover / mashup of One Way or Another and Teenage Kicks. Great cover. Everyone should listen to it.
The band also added some fun moments here and there, like performing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song in Dublin, or doing the a cappella version of Story of My Life at the very last Japan show. The song Story of My Life is on their third album, Midnight Memories, but this song dropped right before the end of this tour, which is another example of them overlapping album cycles. They were still on tour for, Take Me Home while also dropping
Midnight Memories.
Yeah.
Always on the go.
Always.
They also, once again, had a live Q&A section on this tour where they would answer fan tweets, another example of them utilizing the power of social media to create bonds with their fans. So to discuss, our personal connections to this tour, I know we both didn't get to see Up All Night, but we did both get to see the Take Me Home tour. So I saw it at the Pepsi Center. Well, it's now called Ball Arena, I think. I prefer Pepsi Center. Whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter. The tour was at Pepsi Center in Denver. I had nosebleed seats. This was before I became obnoxious and needed to be in a good seat. But it was still obviously super unforgettable. I remember I went with my cousin who flew out to see it, and a couple of my other friends, and it was so good. I remember I think I brought a sign, which why? I was in the 300s. They could not see that. But I was just having a good time. And it was the first tour of theirs I got to attend because I had, like I said in one of our previous episodes, I did see them at the Olympics, but that was a 1 minute long performance. And I also blacked out, so I don't even remember it. But this was the first tour that I got to attend. And the fact that 5 Sauce were the opening act made it even better. I think at the time I wasn't Like, I was just getting into Five Sauce. I wasn't as big of a fan yet, but this, like, really also kicked that off. So, great times at the Take Me Home tour.
Yeah. This was also the first time that I got to see One Direction. I saw them at the Staples Center, which is now Crypto Arena.
Everything's being renamed.
But
It's been so long.
the Staples Center is so much better. Anyways, I digress. I was also on the nosebleeds, but this was the first concert that I got to go to without parental supervision. My mom, she let me and my cousin go alone. I had saved all of my birthday and babysitting money to buy this ticket, which I bought resale. So I paid $100 for this ticket. It was not great. I know, but the fact that $100 was
On this
the
tour,
sale price.
I think this tour, it was like $300 to meet them, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
then, yeah. So, I mean, my seats weren't terrible. I think they were in like the lower bowl of the arena, and I don't remember how it looks, but regardless, I spent $100 on it, which is crazy nowadays. But
That would be so cheap nowadays.
anyways, and a special note is, so after the show, when I was leaving, we were standing in this like little area that was like where pickups and drop-offs were happening, because they had those arranged for because it was so many teenage girls, so none of
Obviously.
us knew how to drive, so it was like a whole bunch of parent pickup things that was happening. But Liam's friend Andy was like
Throwback.
leaving the venue, which crazy that they were just like leaving the venue out the freaking front door. But him and some like YouTuber guys, anyone like watched YouTube back in the day, I think it was like Sam Pepper and Mazzy Maz.
Oh my god, Mazzy Maz!
Yes.
What a throwback. Do you remember when he used to do that thing that was like peace, love, rubber gloves? Was that him?
Yes, I think so. But
peace, love, rubber gloves.
yes.
Anyway.
But so they were all like leaving out at the same time, and they were being like mobbed. And I was standing there, I'm like, oh, what the heck is happening? And I was like standing next to this like pole pillar thing, and the group of girls that were following them like jammed me into this pole, and they all stopped and were like, are you good? And I was like, yeah. And I kept walking. So at least they made sure I was okay.
You got acknowledged. I
did. And that was very exciting for me at the ripe age of 15.
Yeah. So true. I actually, now that I'm remembering back to this tour, I mean, it's not a funny anecdote, it's a sad anecdote for me personally. But that, I was like a stalker. Let's just call it what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. I was a little bit of a stalker. I wanted to meet them. And I like the whole day before, because they had a day in Denver before their tour date in Denver. So I was like, I'm going to go downtown. I'm going to like walk around the places where I think they might be, and hopefully I'll see them. That was the goal. I carried around these little letters that I wrote for each of them because I was insane. They were so stupid too, by the way, but whatever. My mom, actually, I remember her distinctly saying, they are not going to be in Denver. She was like, that's not where they're going to be. Why would they do that? Like, if they have a day off, they're going to go somewhere more interesting and like relaxed, like Boulder.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm still going downtown to find them. Mom. Shout out, Mom. She's probably going to listen to this. So like I said, my cousin came to this show with me, and she flew out, and she is a year older than me. Doesn't matter. Regardless, she was starting to think about like colleges and stuff. On this trip, one of the reasons she also like came was she was like, oh, let me tour University of Colorado Boulder. So our like itinerary for the week was One Direction show, and then the next day was our tour of Boulder. Long story short, all of this unfolds. One Direction spent that day beforehand when my mom said they'd be in Boulder, and I was like, no, they're going to be in Denver. They were in Boulder. And they were like actually active online too at that time. So like, I believe it was Harry who posted a photo like riding a bike in the streets of Boulder. He posted from this sushi place that has like really interesting named rolls. That's in Boulder. All these places that they were, I knew exactly where they were. I just wasn't there. So if I had listened to my mother, this is good advice for everyone. Always listen to your mom.
Yeah.
Not that she would have driven me up to Boulder though that day, because we were also going there in a few days. But regardless, they were in Boulder that day before they came down for their show in Denver. And then I was in Boulder the day after that, seeing all the places that they had just been, thinking they were here like 48 hours ago. Cool. It's fine. I'm not bitter about it. It's totally fine. But I'm glad they had a good time on their day off in Boulder, Colorado.
That was me when they went to Six Flags, because
Mhm.
I at this point in my life, and like I haven't been in a long time, but I would go to Six Flags very often. So like seeing pictures of them, and this was around this era that
Mhm.
I'm actually pretty sure it was during Take Me Home Tour that they did this. But like seeing pictures of them being there when like I was not, and Harry doing the like Sky Devil like drop thing.
Mhm.
There's a video of it. Maybe we'll insert a clip. I did that. I also have a clip of me doing it.
Oh my
I
god,
did
let's
that.
insert that clip.
Yes, we will. But I specifically did that because of him. I am horrified of heights, by the way. Worst experience of my life. But my cousin, who I went to Take Me Home Tour with, was like, Harry did it. We have to do it. And so we did it. And
You know
I
what?
regret. And then they made us do it twice.
Why?
So we got done. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's done. We're ready. We're ready to go. Like I survived. And then they started hoisting us up again. And I was like, why didn't Harry tell me that they did this twice?
You know, I feel like there's arguments for two sides of a coin with that. And one is One Direction is inspiring you to get over your fears. But the other is just because your friends jump off a bridge doesn't mean you should do it too. So
If Harry Styles told me to jump off a bridge, I would probably do it as a 27-year-old woman. Anyways, moving on.
anyways, this is not an endorsement to go jump off a bridge. Please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't.
Basically, though, this was the moment when One Direction officially became a global arena act. Their performances were tight, the production was massive, and the fandom was absolutely losing it. And it's also the moment when the band's personalities started shining through more. You could see their humor, their camaraderie, even little playful interactions with the crowd that made each show feel special.
So between the sold-out dates, the record-breaking ticket sales, the elaborate set list, and the sheer scale of the tour, it's safe to say that 2013 was peak 1D chaos and peak 1D magic all rolled into one.
And we will deep dive a little further into this later, but this was the tour that was documented in their film, One Direction This Is Us, which was directed by Morgan Spurlock. The movie gave fans a behind-the-scenes look at life on the road, showcasing both the band's massive performances and their personal moments, and it was released theatrically in August of 2013. But like I said, more on that later. Deserved an Oscar.
It really did. But getting into what happened during this time, some key moments from the release of Take Me Home and the subsequent tour. This was the era when celebrity attention around One Direction reached peak levels, for sure.
Yes, indeed. So we would be remiss not to talk about one of the most talked about moments during this time, which was the relationship between Harry Styles and Taylor Swift.
Yep. Rumors about them dating ran from December 2012 into January 2013. There was the infamous New Year's Eve kiss, which ruined my life, but that's for another time. Fans immediately started dissecting every single public appearance.
So, a quick timeline of their relationship. They allegedly, again, some of this is alleged, it's based on fan speculation, appearances, all those things pieced together. They met in March 2012 at the Kids' Choice Awards, but it wasn't until October, right after Taylor broke up with Connor Kennedy, that they actually started dating. Taylor's album Red came out that month, and the song I Knew You Were Trouble is rumored to be about him. Obviously, they had just started dating, so it has never been confirmed if this is true. But since they did meet back in March, it could be about him. I suppose she could have known that he was trouble from their first encounter.
But by December 2012, they were on an iconic park date in New York. Attending shows, meeting each other's families, and even surviving a dangerous snowmobile accident while on a ski trip. Harry did end up dating Stitches, and yes, this is when the iconic or traumatizing, depending on how you see it, New Year's Eve Times Square kiss happened. Every moment was captured, dissected, and obsessed over by fans.
Yes, indeed. And the relationship burned bright, but it also burned out very quickly. The breakup was just as intense. It was in January 2013, about 5 days into the new year, as we speculate, and they apparently split during a holiday.
Side note, I am just realizing like how quickly after the New Year's kiss.
Yeah. It was bad. It was bad.
Oh, okay. However, just because they broke up doesn't mean the discourse stopped. Taylor famously chronicles her relationships in her music, and fans spent years speculating which songs and moments could be about Harry.
Yes, famously, her song Out of the Woods clearly references their snowmobile accident and roller coaster romance. It also, some believe that the lyrics "We moved the furniture so we could dance" lyric references to them doing the whole like dirty dancing swan leap at their MSG show after party. Also, in the music video, she is wearing a blue dress, which is similar to the one that she was wearing when she and Harry reportedly broke up.
Which there is like a famous photo of her like on a yacht.
Sitting on the boat.
Hello.
Just in the blue dress.
By herself.
Iconic.
And apparently
Out of the woods, you know.
Yeah.
That song is so good though. Like,
it is a really good song.
When you hit the brakes too soon, 20 stitches in the hospital room. Like,
yeah,
so
great
good.
song. Go off, Taylor. Queen. But in February 2013, she famously used a British accent during her performance of We Are Never Getting Back Together at the Grammys when she says, "So he calls me up and he's like, I still love you." That's exactly what it sounded like. Thanks. I've had 15 years to perfect it.
Additionally, the song style seems like a pretty obvious one too. In the music video, there's a reference to the paper plane necklaces that they both wore. So that one's pretty standard. Pretty solid connection there.
But on the reverse side, One Direction's Perfect is rumored to be about Taylor Swift. So it goes both ways. The song contains lyrics which Harry sings. And if you like camouflage every time we go out, and if you're looking for someone to write your breakup songs about, then maybe I'm perfect. And Harry did write on this song.
Yeah, but they're chill. In a later interview, Harry confirmed that he's fine with people writing songs about him. Like, that's what songwriters do. So I think that there's, you know, a mutual respect there. There's no long-standing issues.
For sure. And he would be a little bit hypocritical to be upset about someone writing a song about him when he also does the same thing. So
exactly. And let's note too, we'll get to this, we'll highlight this relationship later, but Harry wasn't the only one in celebrity relationships. During this time, Zayn was also dating Harry from Little Mix. They were going strong at this time. Another relationship that would lead to some banger songs later. Shout Out to My Ex is probably one of the best songs ever written. So good.
Incredible song.
So good. So we'll get into the Little Mix lore later, but that was another one that was happening at this time. But I do think that everyone at this point in 2026 has hopefully mostly moved on from these things, and there's no more issues outstanding. Everyone's got some mutual respect. So that was the Harry Taylor lore. And go stream Taylor Swift if you haven't, because icon.
Yes, queen. Love her. But speaking of long-standing issues, another iconic moment from this era was One Direction's feud with the Wanted.
This rivalry flared up publicly in late 2012 when Zayn called the Wanted's Max George a geek on Twitter, which sparked the whole thing.
Yeah, what started as a small jab quickly escalated into a full Twitter war with insults flying between the band members of both groups.
Yeah, the exchange included back and forths like Tom Parker defending his band and Zayn mocking his appearance and vocal ability, sometimes with pretty like savage lines. Louis chimed in to tell him to pipe down, and you know, they traded some playful insults back and forth.
But at one point, Max told Zayn to stay off the bud. It makes you cranky, to which Zayn replied with a cheeky insult and even challenged him about meeting in New York. This was scandalous because while fans assumed Zayn and Louis had some gardening hobbies, if you will.
Gardening.
One Direction was still meant to be squeaky clean boy band for young girls to look up to.
Yeah. So let's read a few of these tweets because they actually are really iconic looking back. It's like so funny. Really. So Zayn said, at Max the Wanted, P.S. Your display just shows how much of a wannabe you are. Smiley face. And then Max was like, that's not very nice. I was just starting to like you and your R&B hits. And then Tom chimes in and says, I think One Stripe's got his knickers in a twist, bro. I think that's in reference to his hair.
His blonde stripe.
When he
had that blonde stripe of hair, yeah.
And then Zayn said, mate, if I had a face like yours, my hair would be the last thing I'd worry about.
Iconic.
And then Louis chimes in and goes, pipe down, bad boy. And then Tom replied, sorry, Sass Master, because Louis had like this little nickname that he was the Sass Master from Doncaster. And as we know, Zayn was the Bradford bad boy, so Tom also threw in a picture of Zayn and wrote, Bradford bad boy. And then Zayn replied to that and said, let's not even start discussing vocal ability, boys. Would love to chat. Gotta run through rehearsals. So that was one of the pretty famous exchanges.
Yeah. And then directly after that, Max tweeted at Zayn and said, enjoy rehearsals, stay off the butt. It clearly makes you cranky. And Zayn's response to that was, all right, chlamydia boy.
To give some context on that particular comment, before this feud, Max had openly joked in interviews and on their like TV show that he had chlamydia and that he'd caught it during his Wilder touring days. So when the feud kicked off, Zayn kind of went for a low blow to try to embarrass him.
From there is when they got into the like, tell me your problems without the 8 security in New York City. The only problem I have with you is the SHIT banter. Grow up, son. That was from Max. And then Zayn came back and said, I'd effing love to see you in New York, big man. Ha, you clown. These are insane. I forgot how crazy.
I forgot how actually insane Twitter was. And then here's more.
Yeah.
They're just so funny.
Better.
We have to read them to you.
Yeah.
It keeps getting better. So Tom tweeted Louis and said, you even talk about us at your own gigs. Are you that upset you didn't get in this band? And Louis said, pal, we both know I wouldn't waste my time auditioning for your band. You humor me with your bad boy persona. And he goes, bad boys for life, my idol. And then Tom goes, you were too busy wowing the judges with this. And I'm pretty sure it's a link to his audition, which is terrible.
Which we went over, so.
A really good comeback, to be honest. But then Louis said, uh-oh, the Wanted's Tom Parker. My failed X Factor audition shattered me. And he like is linking to some tabloid stuff. Yeah. And so then Tom goes, Louis, I don't need to call producers to beg my way onto a track over my friends. Hashtag crybaby. Hashtag loyalty. Hashtag Louis got talent. And Louis goes, Tom, interesting you have to entertain your many followers with lies. I actually think you could be the biggest twat on Twitter. And then Louis goes, why don't we make your next single our movie soundtrack? So he's flexing the movie on them. Tom goes, this one's funny. This one's good. Tom really popped off with this one. He goes, Louis Tomlinson, I'd love to make the soundtrack to Mean Girls 3. And then this was mostly exchanges between Louis, Zayn, Max, and Tom. But Liam chimes in, and Liam's comeback was honestly fire.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So Liam had a couple replies, and he goes, hey, Tom, let's talk about your singing. Your amazing tone pierces my ears with every note with like a weird face. And then this is the fire one. He goes,
this is the iconic.
Yes. Tweet out when you have someone to speak to. Our drummer has more followers than you. Everyone remembers Josh Devine. Josh Define, if you will. King.
Great man. Love him.
Anyway, it's so good. It like continued on too for a bit, but like so good. Their girlfriends even got involved, didn't they?
Yeah. Eleanor, Louis' girlfriend at the time, and Kelsey Hardwick, which was Tom's girlfriend at the time. I believe they were boyfriend girlfriend at this point, and then
but they did get married later.
They added fuel to the fire by tweeting each other. Eleanor responded to a tweet from Kelsey that was shading Louis. She said something to add to whatever Tom had been saying, and the tweet that Eleanor sent to Kelsey, which is so funny because my name is also Kelsey, but the tweet was just hashtag nip slip to bring up a picture that Kelsey had. I think it was like a pap photo or something, and she had an unfortunate nip slip in this photo.
Yeah.
And then she like responded to Eleanor's. I'm like, oh, did you want to see more or something like that? But iconic
moments. So good.
Yeah.
Most of these tweets were later deleted, but obviously people screenshot everything.
Oh, yeah.
So fan discussions kept the feud alive in pop culture memory. For fans at the time, this was iconic. Like, we were going to war. like you could not be a Wanted fan and a One Direction fan. Like, it just like didn't mix. This was like a head-to-head British boy band moment that was like playing out in real time. The feud was real among the fandoms. I mean, I liked the song Glad You Came, but like I wouldn't admit it at the time.
Yeah, I was secretly listening to it.
Secretly a Wanted fan, but like not publicly.
But I was mad at them. I felt bad for listening to the song because I was mad at them for being so
Yeah.
nasty. Even though One Direction was
They were
also
also
being
nasty.
a little bit nasty. But although some people tried to frame it as playful or promotional banter, many saw a real rivalry fueled by comparisons in success and fan base size.
Yes, and there were storylines about snide comments, chart battles, who sold more tickets, all that kind of stuff. And, behind the scenes, apparently they were reportedly polite to each other, but competitive, of course. So it definitely probably wasn't as dramatic as the tabloids made it out to be, but it definitely made for some legendary fan debates online.
Yeah, for sure.
We will note, this is no hate to the Wanted. They were a fantastic band. Like, they have some great hits. Glad You Came is probably one of the best songs from that era of time.
Mhm.
And, like, obviously, they've been through a lot. Like, we would be remiss to not mention that Tom Parker, who passed away from cancer in 2022, was vital to that group. They were incredible. I saw them live at least once, if not twice, and they were so good. So we were obviously devastated by that loss as well. And I
Yeah.
think even the One Direction boys might have mentioned it too and been like,
Yeah, I know for a fact Liam did
Yeah.
attend his funeral. So
So-
there was
love
by this
to
time there was
the Wanted boys and their families, and I hope they're doing well.
But moving on from the Wanted feud, we of course can't forget the wild internet rumors. Another interesting moment from this era that got a lot of attention. Whether or not it was true was an incident involving Niall in Japan.
Which we're not gonna spend too much time on it because one, we don't think it's true, and two, we don't want to disrespect our Lord and Savior, Niall Horan. But it was
Yeah.
it was a big moment in the 1D fandom when this happened. There was a lot of talk, so we're just gonna quickly summarize it. When 1D were in Japan on this tour, a rumor spread that a fan had found Niall in his hotel room, pleasuring himself, banging on the walls, screaming, swearing, and saying phrases like, "That's the crack," and "Up the lads." The fan allegedly recorded a video of the incident and was blackmailing him to, saying she would release the video if he didn't hang out with her. We're pretty positive that none of this is real,
Yeah.
but multiple articles were written about it.
Yeah. Way more than should have been written. But looking back at this period, it perfectly captures how the band's rising fame intersected with media speculation, fan obsession, and the kind of rumors that could go viral before social media had fact checking. It was
True.
everyone just ran wild with whatever we saw on the internet. So
Yes.
that's
I will
how Niall
say
in Japan came to be.
that is still a problem today, though. Don't believe everything you read on the internet,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Especially with AI now. It's going to get
Yeah, that's
even worse.
scary.
Even worse.
Yeah.
So take note, everyone. Be careful when you're on the
Yes.
internet.
Yes, please. The Take Me Home tour era was the perfect storm of fame, fandom, and internet chaos. Celebrity drama, viral rumors, and arena concerts. It set the stage for everything that would follow.
Yes, it was a moment when One Direction wasn't just a band. They were a cultural phenomenon, shaping pop music, fandom norms, and internet obsession, all simultaneously.
All right. Next episode, we will be diving into a controversial topic in the fandom, Larry Stylinson. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay
It'll be a
tuned
good
for
one.
that. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. We'll discuss the origins of the ship, fanfiction's place in fandom, and the implications of shipping real people.
Yes, should be a good one. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And feel free to leave some comments. Let us know if you remember the iconic Twitter feud with the Wanted, what your favorite comeback was. I think mine was the drummer has more followers, or
Chlamydia
maybe
boy.
Chlamydia boy. Iconic moments. So let us know what your fondest memories from this time were. And also let us know what you're fangirling over right now. We'd love to expand our fangirl knowledge as always. So that's it for this episode. And remember, life's too short not to freak out over the things you love. It's totally okay to fangirl a little too much. See you next time. Bye.
Slay.
Slay.